Salutations, dear listeners and viewers. You are watching Zab FM Digital Islamabad, and I am your host, Muhammad Hussain Qazi. On this special episode of our series, we are to talk about a very famous economic landmark in the history of Pakistan. Yes, dear viewers and listeners, we are going to talk about the Pakistan Steel Mill. Now, some of you may wonder, what is the Pakistan Steel Mill? What is its history? I mean, what more is it today than just an abandoned factory where once we used to make steel domestically? But, my dear esteemed audience, it is so much more than that. Before we discuss our past in this regard, it is important that we look at the sort of background to this theatre of economic landmark construction. To begin with, this was the early 1970s. Pakistan had been recovering from the conflict that was the 71 war, and the Cold War was at its peak. And Pakistan had suffered from a reputation that it had become a staunch ally of the West. Whereas the reality was that with both the ideological East and West, Pakistan had had poor diplomatic relations. In light of this, the new Prime Minister, Mr. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, decided to take the executive decision to extend an olive branch to Moscow, which at the time was thought as a bold move by the international community, much as it is considered today. In such case, Prime Minister Bhutto sought to make Pakistan economically independent, and so it benefited the Soviets as well as it helped them expand their economic projects abroad. Now, it was not unforeseen to see an economic landmarks construction as a light of Soviet Pakistan friendship. For example, you have the Aswan Dam in Egypt, or the dams that were built in Ghana under Prime Minister Kwame Nkrumah and his friendship with the Soviets. But when it came to Pakistan, this was a country that had suffered a reputation of being a staunch puppet of the West, a reputation that Pakistan had battled for quite some time. So, in order for the construction of this to happen, it happened under the pretext of two things. A executive decision taken in 1969 under the Ayub regime with their new friendship with Moscow, and of course Prime Minister Bhutto's initiative to regenerate such ties between Moscow and Islamabad. The Pakistan Steel Mill began its construction and soon it became a powerhouse for steel production. Pakistan was now producing steel in its own borders and had to rely less on foreign aid. It is unfortunate now that the Pakistan Steel Mill soon fell in disarray because of mismanagement, economic mismanagement, and the political course of events. But in recent months, there were talks happening in Russia, whispers in Moscow that Pakistan and Russia were deciding to re inaugurate the Pakistan Steel Mill. And so, even just in whispers or in small discussions, we seek to look back at Pakistan's golden age of economic prospect and diplomacy, which went hand in hand to build a bright future for this great land. That is it for today on our special episode on the Pakistan Steel Mill. We shall return to you with another such episode on Pakistan's fascinating history with the Cold War. I am your host, Muhammad Hussain Qazi, and you are watching and listening to Zab FM Digital Islamabad. Goodbye for now.